Hey, Brian, how Philip? How's it going? You guys hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Oh, it would help if I was unmuted. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, how's it going, Philip? How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, good. What's your status with SkillBridge? How's that going?
So my 1 May early retirement, the waivered retirement got denied. So I'll be retiring normal time 1 August. I'll be applying for that here in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then
2022.
yeah. 1 August 22.
Got it. Do you have an idea of what you want to do and where you want to live?
Yeah, definitely. I already moved my family back to Illinois, over by Scott Air Force Base, a little bit east of St. Louis. So that'll be where I'm doing my skill bridge, and then already been reaching out for months now to several companies and have a good idea of which one I'm going with. But of course, I'll keep my options open and apply to a few.
Yeah, definitely. What I would do is when you're ready to apply, I would apply to all the companies that you're interested in doing a SkillBridge opportunity with at the same time, because your timeline is not their timeline.
Yeah.
And so, a recruiter may be out sick, or maybe, they're on vacation, or, whatever the case may be. And I think the worst thing that can happen for a service member is that you're sitting at home, hoping and waiting for a recruiter to call you. And meanwhile, your time is being eaten up. The time's not working for you, essentially,
Yeah.
right? And so what I'd hope for you is that you apply to many opportunities, and then, it's all a numbers game, right? So you apply to 10, maybe 7 of them get back to you, and maybe 4 of them give you opportunities. But
Yeah.
you're still in the driver's seat at that point, because then you can lay those opportunities out on the table and figure out which one is best for you and your family for you to take.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Awesome. Very cool. Brian, Mindy, how's it going?
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
Yep. What's up, Darius? So those of you that don't know Darius, Darius, he didn't retire, but he separated from the Navy last year, did a SkillBridge opportunity, was given a job offer.
Oh, I'm not even on mute. You guys can hear me, huh?
Yeah.
I'm just
So
punching
Darius
stairs
decided
away. Sorry.
Darius decided to go with a different company, but Darius has a great story, and he's a wealth of knowledge. So we're fortunate to have Darius here with us today.
Hi,
Mindy,
everybody.
what's that?
I was just saying hi to everyone.
Oh, Mindy, Brian, what's your SkillBridge situation? How you guys doing with that?
I'm just starting out. I don't start SkillBridge till December, but I'm still up in the air if I want to use the Hiring Heroes or what. But I'm looking for an HR opportunity with a little bit of a senior level position if possible. And so that's kind of what I'm going for.
Oh, did you message me?
I did.
Okay. Let me find that message and let me see if I can answer your questions. Believe it or not, I am not backed up. Like, being 1 day behind is me on track. So with my messages. There you go. Oh, I answered you. Okay.
You did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So have you already run a keyword search on the approved list of companies to find the companies that are offering the kind of opportunities you're looking for?
I did, and I can't really tell like what kind of level of positions, because when I look it up, they're like HR. But again, I'm not going for the entry level HR because I have a certification, because I have 20 years of experience as an officer. I'm an HR officer. I want more of a more senior role. So that's why I'm just kind of like, ooh, okay, do I directly connect with an employer? Do I go through Hiring Heroes? Like what do I do here?
Both, all of it. Cast the widest net possible. Okay. In this space, and I don't know if you've ever applied to jobs before, but in this space, 1 equals 0. So if you apply to 1, you're likely going to get nothing. Or if you apply to 1, the most you can get is 1. And so apply to Hiring Our Heroes. Keep in the back of your mind that only 10% of service members are approved for the program. They have a 90% not attrition, but what's the word? 90% of the people that apply don't get approved to participate, and a lot of it has to do with their timing, right? Your transition timeline has to line up with their cohort timeline, and so right off the bat, 90% of the people that apply to the program are denied because their timeline doesn't match up. Other reasons why service members wouldn't be approved would be if you didn't have a degree, or no companies that were participating were interested in you, or you didn't interview well, right? So all of those things are a factor, and so I don't want you to end up with nothing. So again, I want you to cast the widest net possible, right? I think on my chat back to you, I'd mentioned Nick Bussey with Leaf Filter, right? He has a considerable amount of HR opportunities. He started off with offering what was like installation manager and regional manager positions, and then they very quickly pivoted to HR. And so they'll have opportunities. I think you were looking to be down south in Jacksonville. I know that he has quite a bit. I know that he is nationwide. And actually, while I talk to you, I'm going to find a map that he published, because the DoD, not sure if you guys know this, the DoD will not showcase all of the locations that that approved company has. They will only showcase 10 opportunities. So if you go to the map, the SkillBridge map, you're only going to find 10 locations where companies have their opportunities. Let me see. So for you as well, I want you to cast the wide net. I want you to find all the companies that are offering HR opportunities. And HR, even if a company is not offering HR, right? Every company, mid-size and bigger, has an HR department, right? So it's safe to say that you can connect with a SkillBridge point of contact and ask them about their HR opportunities, and they can maybe create one for you. Okay, so don't necessarily narrow your search to the companies that are on the website that say that they have HR opportunities, because every mid-sized to large company will have HR opportunities. It's whether or not they want to make them available for you. Does that make sense?
And if they're already approved as a SkillBridge provider, it's going to be a very easy lift to add another program, even if they don't already offer it, or to get you in as internships. It's one of the most time-consuming things, just getting approved and listed as a provider. So yeah, you might as well reach out to all of them, especially too if there's companies that are say local or in a desired location, or even in like a general like industry you think it would be cool working for, like doing HR, with tech companies, or companies that do whatever. They're on there though. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you never want to limit yourself, because your timeline is not their timeline. Your requirements aren't their requirements. So the wide net is definitely best for.
Yep.
Well, to even add to what the guys were saying, I was going to say that what I found and what I've noticed is that a lot of companies, when they advertise their SkillBridge opportunities, they actually make the requirements broad. So even though they may say they're looking for a HR person in general, they may not necessarily tell you that they have one opening or 6 openings that range from entry level at a recruiter, or someone who's more senior, for example, that they want truly guiding their HR practices. In addition to that, with you being in Jacksonville, I'm assuming you mean Jacksonville, Florida, and not North Carolina.
Yes.
Assuming that to be correct, then Navy Federal Credit Union has a huge presence down there. They also are SkillBridge affiliated, and it's plausible that they have something available, because they're one of the biggest organizations in that space. I would go on LinkedIn and message William Usher, Usher, the second. It's like William Usher. There's 2 S's, but he pronounced it Usher, the second. And he recruited me for SkillBridge just out the blue, right? Like as Dave mentioned, I was supposed to go with Amazon, and Navy Federal Credit Union jumped in my inbox and said, "Hey man, we just got approved through the DoD. Do you want to come over with us? We're looking for, I don't know, somebody to do data analysis or something like that. I can't remember what it is at the time. And I was like, nope, I want to be a project manager. And I'm like, that's not what we're looking for. And I was like, that's cool, but I want to be a project manager. And he was like, okay, well, I'll see if I can find someone that needs some project managers. If so, and you'll do the interview. If you pass the interview, then we'll bring you on. And I did my SkillBridge. It was like ninth hour because I was going to go do operations management with Amazon. And I literally was like, oh, I can't make it. And and then I went over to Navy Federal Credit Union. I did my SkillBridge with them as a project manager. I ended up taking a job with a completely different company anyways. I now work for Booz Allen Hamilton in contract management. So I don't even do project management. But my point in saying all that is to say that I know that it's oftentimes the opportunities that are available aren't advertised. So you should ask. And because Will is a senior recruiter at Navy Federal Credit Union, and he just got moved into another position. So I think he's no longer in charge of DoD SkillBridge directly, but his team, like people on his team are, he would be a good point of contact. I know that they recruit for persons directly out of college all the time, and they're always trying to bring in veterans because they want to keep, it's hard for them to get a turnover because Navy Federal is so, people like to stay there, but it's a great atmosphere. And I know that they have a huge presence in Jacksonville, and I would probably, like I said, I would give them a call. So that's William Usher with 2 S's, USSHER, the second. I believe it's the second. He's also in the group. So if you look up, you might be able to find him in the SkillBridge group too.
Yep.
All right, good stuff. Thank you.
Yep. Here's I found it while Darius was sharing. So if you guys can see my screen, this is Nick Bussey. He's the head of Leaf Filter Gutter Protection, and these are all of his locations across the country. And so right here, it kind of looks like he's got some opportunities there in Florida. So I invite you to reach out to him. Every time somebody says HR, I always think of them, but obviously, like Darius is saying, there are quite a few companies. A lot of them will have SkillBridge opportunities for you.
Great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome, Selena. Who else we got? We have Daisy May. Thanks for coming back, Daisy. How's it going?
Doing great.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. Really appreciate
Absolutely, Selena. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good, good. Where are you at with your SkillBridge journey?
So I am in the beginning of the process. Hold on, I guess I could start my video here. I'm in the beginning of the process. So I will be retiring from the Navy in September of next year. So the advice I got was to apply early and apply to as many places because of wait lists and requirements and such. And I am finding that to be true. Some of the companies have like different start dates that may or may not align with my transition. So I'm really just trying to find out as much as I can and really trying to narrow down also what it is I want to do, because that, kind of having some deep thoughts about that and where I want to go. So it's helping me to kind of narrow things down. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. I invite everybody to chase down their happiness, right? What is going to make you happy at the end of the day? Probably about 16 months ago, the Department of Labor released a statistic that said 70% of transitioning military members leave their first job within 1 year of transitioning. And so that tells me two things. First, the service member is not leaning into who they are and what they want. Okay, so please prioritize happiness over everything else. Okay. Second thing is a service member may not be researching the companies well enough. So you may have gotten the right job at the wrong company. Okay, so it's real important for you to do your homework, right? Follow all the companies that you think you may be interested in interning with. Follow them on social media. Obviously, the only thing that you're going to see from them are going to be good things, right? Like you don't post a picture of you and your spouse fighting at home on Facebook. Okay. They're not going to post something where a manager is, yelling at an employee. Okay. But what I want you to do is connect with the people that work with those companies that do the job that you want to do. An IT specialist with GDIT will not do the same job with, as an IT specialist from another company. Okay. So learn about what the job may look like. Find out what is a day in the life of. Okay. One company may do things, kind of like old school where you got to print everything out and highlight it and put it in a routing folder and send it up to chain of command. And another company may be instituting AI and you can do your job in your sleep. Right. So just kind of go into it with your eyes wide open, learn from those that are already doing the job. So that way you can, go into this with your eyes wide open and make the best decision for you and your family.
Those are good points, Dave. And can I add something to it as well?
Please, yeah.
So, like in the interview, they interview us to get to know us. But at the same time, I think they give us the opportunity to ask questions, and that's your chance to get to know them as well. So that's where you will.
Oh, Daisy, you there?
Oh, good. I thought it was just me. Okay, I'm not the only one who lost audio for her.
Uh-oh. All right, hopefully Daisy can rejoin us. Another person that I'd like to introduce, Ben. Okay, Ben Scudero. Ben took part. Did Ben dip out? I thought he was there. Oh, he may be coming back. No, Ben's here. Okay. So Ben Scudero left the Navy, right? You didn't retire, right? Ben, did you retire?
Yep. No, I separated. So I was a one and done. I was a fire controlman. So I specialized with the Aegis computer networks type stuff. So I came in 2013, came out 2019, found a SkillBridge opportunity, knew what I wanted to do software development, tried to figure out the best way to get involved in that. And I figured low code was the best start because I didn't have a degree and I didn't have really much experience, just some IT background, and it's military IT on a weapons system. So not exactly your typical regular IT systems in the private sector. Looked around, there wasn't really any programs at the time for ServiceNow. There are quite a few now. A lot of them I've helped create or co-create, but connected with a guy named Sam Sussman who helps out periodically as well and is fairly active here in the veteran community in transition. We got on board. He already knew about SkillBridge, was kind of in the early stages of considering a program, kind of nudged him along to get it going and kind of just went from there. Since then, I've been able to move up really quick, multiple companies, continue to get better. Moved into a senior consultant role, senior developer role just earlier this year. And I'm currently in the process of even being considered for some architecture type positions. And so, yeah, it's just been really fun journey. And so IT tech, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity in general getting out. So, it's a great time to get out and get in the private sector, especially using SkillBridge, because that's really helping people fill the gap that they need as far as experience or say some training or education. So yeah, it's really phenomenal. Like just even what my expectations were coming out, like I was really stoked if I could hit 6 figures, and I'm just blown way past that since then. And a lot of that's just due to being able to start somewhere. And, a lot of people know themselves, they know their potential. They know, hey, if someone just gives me a chance to go and learn, I can really go and make it. And for me, that was definitely the case. So I knew I just needed to get in the door and then the rest would take care of itself.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. Hey, so right there, Ben mentioned something that's becoming very near and dear to my heart. Okay. For those of you that don't know, I am the SkillBridge program lead for General Dynamics Information Technology. I'm also the group administrator for the DoD SkillBridge Community of Practice Group. I speak to veterans or service members all day long. Okay. One of the things that comes up in conversation is salary. Okay. And so what I'd like to do is just share a little bit and help manage some expectations. I've got a gentleman who he's somewhere between 4 and 8 years in, it's either the Navy or the Air Force, who's getting out. I think he's got a TSSCI, and he's leaving to go move to Bossier City, Louisiana, and he's expecting to make $140,000. I can tell you, I don't remember the gentleman's name. I can bet a paycheck that my company is not going to pick him up. Okay. There's a lot of misinformation out there as far as service members go, how much money you should be making or how much are you going to make. And for those of you that are highly cleared, TSSCI or above, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get six figures. There are a lot of instances where pay will increase because of your clearance, but it's not going to be astronomical. Okay. GDIT has some positions that require a higher than CI poly clearance. And they're going to be cable pullers, and we're going to pay them $50,000. Okay. So please don't think that because you're highly cleared that you're automatically going to command a salary of six figures or more. Okay. That's just not the case. One of the things that I found is utilizing resources like salary.com. Okay. Salary.com is I feel is very accurate, at least as far as my company goes. Okay. And so you don't even need an account. What I want you to do, once you figure out what it is you want to do and where you want to live, okay, go on to salary.com and plug those two things in, right? So you want to be a system administrator and you want to live in Denver, Colorado, right? So you plug both of those pieces of information in, and what it's going to do is it's going to provide you a bell curve, right? You're going to see like a chart with a curve, okay? On the left side, it's going to show you a number that is representative of all of the people who have little to no education, certifications, or his history or experience in that job field and what it is that they're making. On the right side, it's going to be all of those senior people who have a lot of experience in history, possibly a degree and some certifications in that field and what they're making. And then in the middle, it's going to give you the average. Okay. I've noticed that with my company, we are very much in line with the average. Okay. So we stay pretty competitive. I invite you to utilize resources like salary.com because I really think there needs to be some kind of expectation management in this space. Okay. Those of you that have a TSSCI or above, those of you that have a secret clearance, right, and that are getting out after 4 years, I'm not saying that you can't make $100,000. I'm just asking that everybody do their homework so that way when you talk to recruiters or you talk to program managers like myself, you're giving us some kind of number that's somewhat realistic, right? I can't do anything for that gentleman who has 4 or 6 years in, who wants to move to Bossier City, Louisiana, and make $140,000, right? That's just, it's not realistic. So I invite you to use your tools, okay? There's probably more resources than just salary.com that you can use. All I'm suggesting is that you utilize your resources to find that out.
Did you guys have that conversation with him though, just to set him straight?
Actually, he was the first person. He was the first person that I had that conversation with. There were some others that I had before or earlier than him that gave me salaries that I thought were a little bit higher than what they were going to get, at least with my company. And I didn't have the conversation. But when he gave me that number, and I personally thought it was astronomical, I then was like, okay, let's jump on salary.com, and we did it in real time. And based on his whether he had a degree or not, the certifications he had and the experience that he had, he didn't have any other experience outside of the Navy or the Air Force, whichever one he's in. So he only had his 4 years or 6 years of experience. And so we did it real time. And I think he came out to something like, 85 or 87,000 or something like that. And he wanted to keep his number at 140. And so, I facilitate the program. I'm not a recruiter, so service members aren't negotiating with me, right? I'm literally just the catalyst, right? I'm going to help you get your foot in the door. And a lot of the program leads for SkillBridge are that, right? They're program leads. They're not necessarily recruiters. There are certain senior level recruiters and HR managers that do facilitate their company's SkillBridge program. And so you would be negotiating directly with them. But that's not the case with me. I just wanted to provide value to that service member up front to help manage those expectations.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I'll add to that. Yeah, pretty much exactly. Dave's pretty much spot on with this. Yeah, the salary research is really important, both for your field and also even within your industry, the type of work you're doing, right? So for example, like I'm a developer, I'm a ServiceNow developer. ServiceNow in itself is a specialty within tech. But in addition to that, I'm a consultant. And consultants tend to earn above average salary compared to their peer group because you're specialized, right? And all you're focused on is doing that specific thing and being really good at it. And so you can command a higher salary because a lot of times you're working on, projects where companies are willing to pay for expert pricing. And so for example, like I routinely have recruiters reach out to me for regular, developer jobs, and it's not nearly as much as where I'm at now. So it's something to keep in mind. And I typically find when you're getting out, like very realistic area ballpark for most people is going to be around anywhere really from around about 70 to 90 is going to be obtainable for most people in most circumstances. Now, if you're IT or tech, that's going to be very doable. You got a secret clearance or something, top secret. Some other fields maybe towards the lower end of that, but those are very realistic and attainable. And like from my case, right, the other thing to consider is the trajectory of where you can go. So for me, I was in a very tight situation, had a kid on the way, was moving cross country, and I didn't have a lot of time to evaluate offers or interview at a bunch of different places. So I ended up actually initially accepting a trainer role that was kind of half trainer, half developer. We'll let you develop when clients allow you to. And it was like way less than where I was even hoping to be. I mean, after negotiations, we ended up at 65. But, for me, I was like, this is like break even as an E5 getting out for me when you factor in, your tax benefits and medical. And, but I knew the potential. And I said, well, okay, trainer, I'll get to learn, I'll get to take a bunch of courses, keep learning, and I'll go from there. And so definitely things to keep in mind too is balance, like, yeah, okay, maybe I can't start at 6 figures, but will this company put me in a situation where if I just get some experience at training with them, it'll be very easy. And like I said, from there, it's, that was definitely the right move because I was able to get a really big jump with my second job. And then now the company I'm with now, a very significant jump as well. So yeah, very good points. I think also like Glassdoor, Indeed, LinkedIn, they also have really good information on like salary insights as well, and also company reviews. So like you're trying to figure out, hey, what are they all about? You can go see what other people say about them who work there, used to work there. A lot of times people are sharing their salary as well, or like maybe other benefits or compensation they might have. And that's like another thing too, is a lot of companies might have bonus structure built in, or like you got to look at the medical, especially if you're not going to have TRICARE because either you're not going to reserve or you're not retiring. Medical plans are really expensive. They're like, for a family, it could be like $800, $900 a month for just your regular monthly premium. So all those things factor in. Like my current job ended up really being a grand slam because it was just the perfect alignment of everything. It was very high salary. They didn't have medical in Indiana, so they paid me an extra $10,000 stipend on top of my high salary, and then they offered like a 10-15% bonus on that. So started stacking, and it was like, oh wow, this is really great. So, but yeah, definitely have patience, and then just keep in mind where the trajectory can go, because even if you think, oh man, I wanted 100 and this job's only going to be 70. It's like, yeah, but does that still get you in the door? It gets you on the path to 100 in another year or two, or the rest of it.
Thanks, Ben. Hey, Selena, I see your hand raised. What's up?
Hi, thanks. I do have a question. Well, a couple of questions. One, do some of the SkillBridge, like you yourself, you're a SkillBridge champion. So if somebody's working with you at General Dynamics with your program and then wants to get in the company, are the hiring managers or the directors or whoever is interested in that candidate, do they oftentimes talk to you and ask you for a recommendation on whether or not they should bring that candidate onto their team? And then my second question is, does the SkillBridge, like is there like a non-compete clause, like if you're doing the SkillBridge program, that if you aren't hired with that team, that you won't go to a competitor, or how does that work?
Yeah, two good questions. So the first question, most of the time I don't really know the candidate from the next person, right? So I interview them, I give them tips and tricks and stuff, and suggest to them to reach out to people like Ben and Darius and cast a wide net, but really I don't know them. So to answer your question fairly, no, they don't ask me. However, if I did know somebody and I thought that they would be good, then I would provide that testimony to the manager in hopes of getting that person in the door. To answer your second question, that's really good, and I'm glad you brought that up. It hasn't been spoken about a whole lot. There's a difference between a non-disclosure agreement and a non-compete clause, right? So a company can have you sign a non-disclosure agreement. That's standard, right? Their information's proprietary, their systems are proprietary, processes, right? That's pretty standard, right? That's not going to get anybody in trouble. A non-compete clause is against the SkillBridge policy. A company cannot have you sign a non-compete clause, because if you intern with them and then they don't hire you, that basically means that you cannot go to any of their competitors. But what is the number one thing? What is the number one purpose of SkillBridge? To get you trained in whatever it is you want to get training in. And so because there's no guarantee of being hired, right? There's no guarantee of anything in SkillBridge. You don't have to accept the full-time offer, and the company doesn't have to make you one. There's just a high likelihood, right, on the company's plate. If they bring you on and they don't hire you, they've essentially screwed you in the ability of getting a comparable job with a different company.
Right.
They cannot
Right.
do that. So
Okay.
if any
to
company
know.
asks you to sign a non-compete clause, run and report them. Okay.
Okay.
I'm friendly with the program director in DC. Any company that asks you to sign a non-compete clause, especially, only if they're approved. If they are an approved company, we can do the director can do something about that. If they're not approved, then a service member has no business doing a SkillBridge because they're not approved, right?
Right.
But yeah, if any SkillBridge approved company requests you to sign a non-compete clause, run and report them.
Okay. Thank you.
They're not setting you up for success.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Question.
That's actually a good segue to my question. So I've been seeing alarming reports from some of the service members stating that some of the companies are just using them for free labor. So I actually told this one individual, because they were getting ready to quit the SkillBridge, they found a job, but I told them you need to report that company, because what's going to happen is the next service member will end up doing the same thing. So what is the process if that ends up happening, where the company's just abusing the system?
Yeah, I think that's an outstanding question, Teresa. I appreciate that. I do want to start off by saying that not every SkillBridge approved company is there to hire you. There are some, and when I say some, it's like literally a handful of companies that are there just for you to get training. Okay. There was a company that I don't know if they were approved. I gotta go look them up. I don't know if they're approved or if they were given like a provisional basis or something, but there was a Navy doctor who wanted to change medical fields. And so he was at a military treatment facility in South Carolina, and that military treatment facility had no ability to hire that Navy doctor at the end. But the Navy doctor wanted to do his SkillBridge opportunity at the medical treatment facility for his clinical hours, right? He wanted to have the ability to be temporarily assigned to that medical facility to be able to do his clinical hours. The director was going to approve the MTF to allow that doctor to do that. So like I said, I didn't follow up. I don't know if they ended up getting approved. There are a handful of companies that are like that are there strictly for the training. And then, they will help shop you around to some of their other companies in their networks or, something like that, where they'll help you land a job. But there are, just a handful of companies that are there not to hire you, but solely to train you. Okay. The majority of the companies are there to hire you, right? To train you, and then should offer full-time job at the end. I would have that conversation on the front end. Okay. When you're talking to the recruiter, when you're talking to the program manager, ask them, is this internship backed by an actual job? Because I have seen something like that before many times, where the company brings on the service member to do whatever it is they want to do, right? They give them training, but the position, the internship, is not backed by an actual job. So what happens at the end? They're either A, not hired, or B, the company's got to scramble, jump through hoops to either find something for that person or create a position for them, which is not good for the company, right? So definitely have that conversation on the front end. Ask them straight up, is this position backed by an actual job? And if it's not, what is the likelihood, right? Because I'm also talking to internal managers within my company. Some of the sectors, some of the divisions are not going to hold a position open for a SkillBridge candidate, because then we're a defense contracting company. We don't get paid by our customer if we don't have somebody that we can build to the contract. And so they're not going to leave that position open. But if let's say, one program hires, a dozen or so software engineers throughout the year, while they may not be backing that actual SkillBridge opportunity by an actual job, there is a high likelihood of you being employed because there's like a rotating door, right? They're always hiring software engineers in this example. Okay. So that's still a win. That's still good. But I would definitely have that conversation up front. And that's again a reason why I would cast that wide net, right? If you put all of your eggs into one basket, you jump on with a company that doesn't back up your internship with an actual job. Now it's likely that you're not going to be hired on. You've got some skills, right? You've got some more experience to add to your resume.
So I don't have any problems with that. As a matter of fact, when eBay offered me their SkillBridge, I wasn't getting the warm fuzzy on the job. So we had that conversation up front. What this individual was stating was, it sounded like outright abuse. They were undermanned, so they were just using the service member as free labor. I mean, you can tell what's abuse and what's, oh, we brought you in to give you training. I think that's what I heard. And then I heard it again today, another conversation that there's a company in Henderson, Nevada, who was doing the same thing, using service members as free labor during the SkillBridge. So it's not just a one-time thing.
Yep. So about that, I think that the DoD, right? I don't work for the DoD, and I'm just an advocate. I believe that the DoD will want to see some kind of history. So if that were to happen to one person, okay, I don't think the DoD is really going to look into that. If it became a pattern, if several service members went with the same company and the same thing happened, then I think there would be a case to be made. And then I think the program would want to look further into that company and maybe have a conversation to find out what their growth potential is, what's their growth model, right? How are they looking to utilize it? Compare what they're saying now to their application that they filed, right? They've got a sign an MOU, memorandum of understanding with the DoD. I think that conversation would be more warranted. But unfortunately, I think more than just one person would need to have a similar experience with the same company in order for the DoD to pursue a conversation like that.
Okay, I agree. Thanks.
Yep. I'll add a few things on the last few points. Yeah, non-competes, definitely, right? Those are not authorized. A lot of companies don't necessarily think about it. Like when they onboard you for HR, they just send you out a bunch of stuff like, here's our, stuff, here's our non-disclosure. So like if you do go through and you get one, like just don't fill it out, right? And then they ask you, say, hey, what you guys, I don't know if you know this, you should know this, of course, but these are not authorized. And then obviously if they have an issue with that, needs to be brought up and say, hey, look, they're trying to have people sign non-competes. But I've definitely seen more than a few companies where they just don't even think twice. They just send out their usual onboarding, and then you're like service members are wondering, do I sign this? Do I not sign this? Because I was in that boat, and then I had to explain to them like, no, guys, like I'm not signing this one, but here's the other ones. And then moving on. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, anytime stuff like that's brought up or there's issues, chain of command, right? If there's questions or when in doubt, those are the kind of things you just want to bring up or reference. Say, hey, I'm not really sure about this or that. Relay that back, of course. And then there's always going to be one-offs where is it the service member? Is it the company? Obviously, when you hear about things like multiple situations with the same company, then that's obviously going to be something that probably gets on their radar and something they probably probe into more further. But that's why I always just tell people, hey, it seems off, say something, but like, and if you feel like you're just being taken advantage of, then, bring it up to your chain of command, because then, worst case, you might actually still be able to find something else if they say, hey, look, they're not fulfilling their responsibilities. They're part of the agreement, right? Part of the understanding that they sign with the DoD, then, there might be some recourse there where somebody can still maybe find something else potentially if that's the case.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. Good questions. Who else? Let's see. Okay. Does everybody know? Oh, good. who was saying
I
something?
was going to say, so my name is Brian Prinzeth. This is my first one of these. I am an E6 in the Navy. I'll hit 12 years in January, but I am going to be separating next year at my EAOS, which is in August. I have a friend that owns a media company down in San Antonio, Texas, which is where my wife and I were already planning on moving back to anyways, because that's where she's from. So he owns a media company, an LLC, that we're starting the process of trying to add it to SkillBridge. And just, that's like the biggest part of it that I'm trying to figure out now, or that we're trying to figure out together. He applied on the SkillBridge website. He's just kind of waiting for the paperwork to be sent to him for all the questionnaire and all that. And then I'm hoping to start SkillBridge around February. And I think we're going to end up doing it remotely for a little while, because it's video editing. So it can be done remotely, the training. So because it's all work on a computer. So because my wife has a job out here in a school, we're going to wait till the end of the school year in June. So we'll do some remote and then hopefully some in person from June to August.
Excellent. So as far as is your friend's company, I'm imagining it's going to be a small business.
Yes.
Okay. So COVID, and I believe this, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe that COVID is really starting to change the way the DoD is looking at businesses, right? Because there were some companies that needed to lay people off because they were not financially stable enough to keep them during COVID. And so I believe that the DoD is also taking what happened with COVID into account. And so it may be a little bit more difficult for a smaller business to become approved, because the DoD wants to know that the high likelihood of employment for long-term is there. Okay. If the DoD doesn't think that that company is going to be able to withstand another, financial crisis, medical epidemics, stuff like that, that may raise red flags for the DoD, and that may prevent that small company from becoming approved. Okay. So it's everything from the vetting standpoint of a company is a completely CYA process for the service member. The DoD is doing this completely to help protect you and to help put you in the best position possible with companies that they believe will have long-term, employment opportunities.
Gotcha. So the other good thing is he does also own 60% of the media company at Keller Williams, the realty company there. So, so if the small business one, if his personal business doesn't work out, then we're going to also pursue the avenue of Keller Williams, since they are an established large business. So, I have that as my backup.
Okay. So with Keller Williams, I started working with somebody who unfortunately was not the best point of contact for Keller Williams. I do see that there may be one or two individual offices with Keller Williams that's approved. I would suggest, if you're able to get a hold of somebody from the national level, get all of Keller Williams approved. Because right now, by instruction, if your command were to say, well, what office are you going to intern at? And they don't see that office specifically listed on the DoD SkillBridge website, then your command can deny you. And so if you have some time, right, I think you've got about a year. If you're able to make those connections with, the director of HR or somebody in, higher level HR, or a military program lead for national level Keller Williams, if you're able to make those connections, try to entice them to apply the entire company to SkillBridge instead of the individual offices.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay. Now getting back to your friend, has your friend received the questionnaire from the DoD?
No, not yet. So he just applied maybe 2 weeks ago, and it does say they're backed up. So expect maybe 30 days or more.
Okay. So with that, there are a couple autonomous features that are built into the DoD's program. When a company, and I'm going to go back to screen sharing so that everybody can see this, you can kind of teach your companies about this when you're talking to them. All right. Everybody see my screen? Yes, no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So have a company click on industry partner / employers, and then the pencil that says how to participate. And this is the first form that every company needs to fill out in order to begin the vetting process. Once they submit this form, it'll be inside of an hour. Last time I did it, I actually just did it again for my company because we're expanding tremendously our SkillBridge program. I literally got an email, a generic email response within 3 minutes of submitting. Okay, it's a built-in automation feature saying, thank you for your submission, right? It just acknowledged my submission. I then, within an hour of that first email, received a second email, which was which had the link to the questionnaire. Okay. I've seen it as much as 48 hours later. But if your friend filed 2 weeks ago and they haven't received the SkillBridge questionnaire, there may be a glitch in the DoD system, and I would invite your friend to fill this out again. They should have definitely gotten the email with the questionnaire way before 2 weeks. Okay. Now, here, if you click on the magnifying glass, okay, and type in SkillBridge questionnaire, right here, questionnaire preview. These are the questions to the test. This is the form that every company is going to need to fill out. Okay. Now, the DoD does a great job as far as streamlining the program, making it easier for them and companies to provide this information and to be able to, for the DoD to sift through this information and decide whether or not the company is a good fit for the program. Like this right here. The location information, okay, as of like 8 months ago, used to never be in this questionnaire. What the DoD used to do was once they approved the company, they would then send out a separate link, a separate form, right, to a separate link to a form that included the location. And that's why the location map is not all inclusive. That's one of the reasons why, okay? Because not all companies, like my company, the person who filed for my company didn't list any locations. So my company is approved, but you won't see any dots on the SkillBridge map for my company, okay? Now it's kind of forced into the questionnaire, okay? Because now the DoD does want to capture, they do want to accurately represent and make it easier for service members to be able to find opportunities in the locations where they intend on living, okay? So these are the questions to the test. Some questions are required, right? Like the ones that are with a red asterisk, okay? Those are required. Others are more like, just kind of getting an idea, right? It's collecting data kind of questions, okay? But I invite the companies to be able to download this, check out the form, write all of their information down on another piece of paper. That way, when they sit down and do the form, it only takes them 20 or 30 minutes. Where if they click on the link and bring up the form and try typing it out as they're, coming on the questions, it may take them a couple days to do. So it may be easier for them to do their internal research first, gather up all the answers to the questions, and then sit down and knock out the form, and it should be pretty easy for them.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Who else? Who else is, does everybody know how to find opportunities? You know where to go to find opportunities? Does anybody not know where to find? There are quite a few places to find SkillBridge opportunities.
Yeah, I'm just now kind of doing kind of a triangulation of trying to look for opportunities. I've gone to the SkillBridge website itself, and then the LinkedIn resources, and the unofficial Facebook page for SkillBridge. Just trying to get as much information as I can. And I started with the website initially, and I learned pretty quickly that everything you said, that it was not all inclusive, and there's a lot that's offered that isn't as well advertised, that you may find. I think that Facebook page, for instance, has a lot of tips and tricks, and it's all over the DoD. So you have all kinds of service members who are applying and those who've done it, and it's been very helpful to me personally.
Awesome, yeah. So just want to point out the DoD SkillBridge site does not showcase any individual opportunities. What you're seeing are, first, you're going to see approved companies, And then second, you're going to see the locations that the companies have disclosed as to where they may have SkillBridge opportunities. But as far as individual opportunities, you're not going to find those on the SkillBridge site. Let me go back to screen sharing.
Yeah, I think that's what I thought I would find. And that was not the case. So.
Yeah. So the DoD SkillBridge Community of Practice group on LinkedIn, we only allow 3 types of people in the group. Those that are eligible to participate in SkillBridge, internal, like recruiters and SkillBridge point of contact for DoD approved companies, and transition counselors. Okay. So like Todd Frey, he's the point of contact for Equinix. Okay. So this is an opportunity that he's sharing. Okay. Scott Smart, he represents another company. So this is another opportunity. Okay. So you're going to find it within the group. You're also, if you're familiar with LinkedIn Jobs, and I do this search quite often. So if you do DoD SkillBridge, and right now I have it across the US, but you can filter it down to the city and state where you want to live. Right now, there are 290 results, individual opportunities that are being showcased on LinkedIn Jobs. Okay. So the way this works, on the left side are the opportunities. On the right side is the job description for that specific opportunity. So this right here from Cushman and Wakefield, they're looking for manage teams. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure what the name of this opportunity is, but this is their opportunity, right? We click on Joby Aviation, they just became approved. Okay, this is their job description. Okay, so that's one way for you to find opportunities. Next way is Google. If you've ever tried to find a job on Google, okay, same thing. So on the left-hand side are going to be the individual opportunities. On the right side is going to be the job description. Okay, so Oceaneering, they're another DoD approved company. Northrop Grumman, okay, they were number 2 last year as far as having the most amount of service members go through their program. And then the last way, or another good way, excuse me, if anybody's familiar with Candy Tillman and 50 Strong, Candy Tillman and 50 Strong, they are a strategic partner with the DoD. And so if you do 50 Strong SkillBridge, it's going to bring you to this page. And then right here, these are individual opportunities. So you got the company name, the location, what is it, internship, apprenticeship, right? What type of position is it? And then what is the title, okay? These are all individual opportunities that she's highlighting, and she only does this for DoD approved companies. Look at all of these opportunities that she's showcasing. That's quite a bit, okay? You got Amazon, right? Covestic. Ben, you were part of Covestic, right? That was a company that you have helped stand up.
Yeah, I started their program.
Yep. GDIT, we got some here, okay? So any company, First Command Financial, they're kind of like a Northwestern Mutual, right? They're a financial firm, okay? L3 Harris, they are a defense contracting company, okay? That's the PM. They're a very small company with a very large SkillBridge program, okay? So Candy Tillman is happy to showcase any opportunity from any DoD approved company, okay? So those are just a couple ways of finding individual opportunities. Okay. I don't look all that often, but I haven't noticed anything on like Indeed, Glassdoor. I haven't really seen SkillBridge cross into those. You're not going to see any on USA Jobs just yet. So those are the 4 main places that I like to show service members of where to go find opportunities. Justin, your picture just popped up. Tell us, sir. Tell us.
Hey, good to meet you, Dave.
Good to meet you,
Longtime fan of the site.
Awesome. Thank you.
Just a real quick tip for anybody looking for SkillBridges out there. There are certain companies like mine that I actively source transitioning service members and try to find out if this SkillBridge is right for them. But my search is LinkedIn mostly. besides posting on different social media is just the opportunity. On LinkedIn, I will actually source through LinkedIn Recruiter, and one of my keywords is transitioning. So if you have that in your profile, you may get hit up by companies like ours and offer you an opportunity, which you could just do a quick interview with them and find out if that's the right SkillBridge for you or not.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. I forgot about that. So one of the things that I do every day is I do a keyword search, just like Justin was saying. Okay. So I'm going to do every day I search SkillBridge, right, on LinkedIn, and then I'll hit posts, and then I will do sort by and latest. Okay. And so here you're going to be able to see individual posts when companies are, let's say they're not on LinkedIn Jobs, right? They're just, it's a regular post. Raleigh Wilkins, he's the head of sales platoon. Okay. He's got a great program. So these are opportunities. Oh, look at that. Benjamin Scudero. Okay. What else? Who else? John Tanzel. He's the head of Skillstorm. Okay. They're more of an apprenticeship program. So you can do a SkillBridge search on LinkedIn and be able to, see opportunities that way as well. Man, I just had, oh, there it is. Anton, I see your question in the chat. So I'm gonna read that real quick. Does anybody have experience with hiring our heroes? They have an in-person location, but also offer remote opportunities. Is it worth the members' time and money to travel to the training area in hopes of that employment my fear is completing? Okay, excellent question. So here's how travel works. When you get selected for a company, if that company is not co-located where you are financially responsible to get yourself to day one of the internship and then return yourself back to wherever your home is after the internship is over, at like day 180 or so, right? Any travel during your internship for your internship is the company's financial responsibility. So you should not be putting out any money for flights, hotels, rent a car, anything like that. If you are traveling on behalf of the internship to do some training, look at some documents, like whatever the case may be, that is on the funding of the company and you should not be paying for that. However, you are financially responsible that if you're located in San Diego and you're going to do your SkillBridge opportunity with a company in Jacksonville, Florida, you're responsible to get yourself to that location. There are some companies who have some benefits, right? They open it up to their SkillBridge program where they will fly you in, they will put you up in like a house or, an apartment or something like that. That is not the majority of companies. I promise you, right? Companies love the free aspect of SkillBridge. They like taking advantage of the free aspect. Of course, they want to onboard the service member at the end because we do come with, some of the best qualities of any people that we have in America, right? The characteristics. But the financial responsibility is yours to get yourself to the opportunity. Finding a company to pay for your flight and put you up in a apartment, those are unicorns, right? Those are going to be purple unicorns. There aren't going to be that many companies that do that. Okay. Does that answer your question, Anton?
Aren't there also, isn't there circumstances where you can potentially get put up in barracks if you have an installation? So I think one of the things I was looking at when I came out in 2019 for my internship as I was considering doing the Microsoft program, and at that time they were all in person, and the specific program I was looking to do was at Joint Base Lewis McChord, and I was in Norfolk. And so they were actively working to see if they could get me room in the barracks, essentially. So if it is near a military installation, there's a possibility, there's no guarantee. Essentially, it's if they have availability and if they're able to support it, then you can, but that's always based upon that installation and what they've got going on. So that's something to look into if you're really, you're looking to, try to be a set location, that might be an option for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to find that memo and I'm going to put it in the chat. I have it as a picture. And I'm going to try to find that memo and provide that to everybody. where I have it. Yeah. So just to go a little bit deeper, don't show up on the doorstep of installation barracks and say, okay, I'm here to do SkillBridge. I need a room, right? Especially coming out of COVID. Okay. I'm here in San Diego, and we were very tied down in California, right? We literally only just opened back up the state on June 15th. Okay. So some of you may not have experienced the kind of restrictive living that I've experienced for the last year. Places like Florida. I know Florida kind of looked at COVID and was like, yeah, right, what's that? But San Diego, California did not. And so here in San Diego, if anybody was coming to San Diego for a SkillBridge opportunity, you're definitely going to want to reach out to the barracks ahead of time to kind of plan this out. I posted in the chat the barracks memo. It's a picture of it, but that is the latest and greatest of what's been released, backing up what Ben was saying. Okay. Awesome. What else? Who else has some questions? Let's see. Hey, Ben, Darius, what are some other talking points that we usually have? How about
So I think I imagine we may have already talked a bit about the eligibility and some of the early prereqs. I know that's a common thing that gets typically brought up is, hey, what do I got to do to participate in the first place? We went through some of the stuff dealing with companies or organizations, finding potential opportunities. Again, LinkedIn, casting a wide net. Those are all really good things. And even actually one thing I wanted to add earlier that I forgot, the whole cast a wide net thing when you're looking for the internship, definitely continue that while you're going through, because as he mentioned, right, the company might not be in a position to hire you at the end of it. And it could just be they don't have any openings or needs currently, or maybe they weren't in the first place. Hopefully that's not the case, but you just never know. One of the things I've seen more often, not more often, but it does happen from time to time. It's kind of like what Dave mentioned with the DoD contracting, is that a lot of times in the contracting space, for them to before a company hires you, they like to put you in front of the client, and then basically you interview with the client, right? The customer, the person you would actually be working for on this project, right? Because obviously they got to make sure the customer's happy. So they got to make sure they're okay with you working on the project. What tends to happen sometimes, especially with the entry level people coming through, because I actually experienced this with my first job offer that fell through. And that's how I ended up initially starting out as a trainer. Is they said, well, he doesn't have any experience. Even though I went through SkillBridge and I had the training and the certifications, they just didn't like that I didn't have the experience. Go figure, it's the Navy of all people. So I was like, thanks, Navy. You really helped me out here. But I've seen it more recently with some other service members I've been trying to help who have kind of just wrapped up their internship. So this is where that casting wide net's really going to come and help you out in that industry as a whole. Because if you keep building your network as you're going through, right, and you do whatever training you got to get, whether it's and whatever comes with that, maybe there's some industry certifications, maybe there's ways you can prove your proficiency, right? Like for example, LinkedIn has a whole bunch where you can go and like I think it's called what Linda is what they call it, but you can go say, hey, take a test or whatnot, kind of demonstrate you got some knowledge there or training. And then obviously leverage whatever projects or type of experience you get within the internship. You definitely want to try and highlight that. And even if you can find ways to maybe get involved in other activities to help boost your experience, because that tends to be a big Achilles heel for a lot of people. That's what SkillBridge is meant to solve. But sometimes SkillBridge isn't enough. But it's definitely you're a whole, you're light years ahead of people who aren't coming out with SkillBridge. So if you, for example, right, what I tell people in my specific space, right, in tech is, okay, you want to do ServiceNow, connect with other companies that are doing that, because we might not have an opening, but somebody probably will, because it is a very tight labor market and a lot of people are hiring, and a lot of positions require experience, but every now and then a company is like, oh, we don't really care, like it's entry level, like, we're just hiring across the board. So those are the companies you want to connect with. And using LinkedIn, right? So you can search for job postings to see what companies are hiring, go start connecting with people in those companies, look for the recruiters, right? One of the things I like to do is, right, I specifically go look for the companies in my space that are hiring, but then you can go on LinkedIn and look at the people, and then I filter for the recruiter talent acquisition, and I'll connect with them, or I'll filter for people who are veterans, right? People I have a common background with, who I can then connect with and say, hey, you know, would you mind sharing your insights about the company? And that's all part of the networking strategy, because 80% of jobs are filled through networking. So networking is super effective for finding SkillBridge, but it's even more effective when actually finding the job following SkillBridge. And if you're doing that while you're going through, build those connections, then you can find that right place. Maybe the company you're with right now, or you're training with, might not be the right place, or maybe they won't have the opening, but you set yourself up to where when you get done, it's not, oh, hey, they don't have an offer. Oh shit, now what? You know, I didn't think, like, I thought they would and they didn't. You don't find yourself in that situation, because, you know, you prepared ahead of time, you networked, you made connections, maybe you got some certifications, or maybe you did something else, right? There's, at least in tech especially, there's a lot of like volunteer type work you can do. So you can volunteer to work on like development projects and stuff. And so you can actually have other things to showcase your experience in addition to your SkillBridge. So again, everybody, you know, different interests, different industries. So you would know better than I would as far as your specific area of interest. But those are the kind of things you want to do. Network, establish your skills, knowledge in the space, be able to demonstrate that as best you can. And then to a great degree, leverage your network, because that's where 80% of the jobs are getting filled, is directly through networking and connecting with vets, connecting recruiters. That's the way you want to. That's a huge, you know, step forward and a very powerful way to get in the door. And like one of the big reasons for the vets part, referrals, right? A lot of people actually get paid to bring people into their company, right? Most companies are giving $1,000, $2,000 referral bonuses. So you've already shown you got the experience in the background. Many, you know, and you connect with a veteran, right? Hey, maybe you were in the Navy in Norfolk and they were in the Navy, and you said, hey, you know, you work for this company. I'm just coming out. I've got some of this background and training. You know, I saw you guys have an opening. You know, as long as you don't come off as crazy or something, most people will be happy to refer you, because what the heck, you know, like it's a win-win if you get hired. So all those things go a very long way. And that's definitely something I continue to emphasize with people in all stages of the process.
Yeah, Ben, you brought up a lot of good points, and I'm trying to sift through my mind, you know, with all the things that you said. Definitely, there are more people getting hired these days because of who they know instead of what they know. Okay, if I put you in a room with 10 strangers and ask you to go get $1 from each of those strangers, how many dollars would you walk away with? Compared to if I put you in a room with 10 of your family members, how much money would you walk away with, right? And so what is the difference? What's the reason, right? Hopefully the people in your family know you and like you, and so they want to give you money, okay? So definitely what Ben is saying is absolutely true. What I want to do is take that a step further, and I'm going to assume that some people don't know how to search for people, okay? So let's say you're interested in a company, and you want to talk to somebody right from that company and learn more about them. Okay. You want to be a director of a taco relation, right? With McCormick. There you go. Hit up Alfredo. He's amazing. I love Alfredo. All right. So I'm going to go with my company, right? General Dynamics. Okay. So you go to the company's homepage. Okay. And then you go to people, go to the people tab, and then you type in something here, right? So like right now I'm going to type in SkillBridge, and I don't know that this is going to work for every company. There you go. So out of the 21,000 people that LinkedIn acknowledges, right, having people that are working for GDIT, I just narrowed it down to 5. Okay. And here are the people that are involved in GDIT SkillBridge program. Okay. Somebody else shout out another company. What other company are you interested in? Come on, don't be shy.
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo. Okay. They don't participate in SkillBridge specifically. They go through hiring our heroes, but let's take a look at them. Okay. So I'm not going to say SkillBridge. Whoops. I'm going to go with people, and I'm going to go with, okay. So they got quite a few. They got over 250,000 people. Okay. So I'm going to say recruiter. Okay. Now that narrowed it down to just over 2,000 people. Okay. So these are all the people that have LinkedIn profiles that are recruiters for Wells Fargo. Okay.
And I'll go further with the recruiter stuff too. Like if you're looking at a large company, there tends to be even subsets or specialties for recruiters for certain areas, right? So like if you know you're going to be IT or tech, you might want to look for technical recruiter, right? Technical recruiter. If you're looking for, sometimes too, they have a lot of large companies might have military talent acquisition, or they'll have recruiters who specialize in certain backgrounds. You'll have some people specialize with college grads and the rest of it. So if you know it's a large company, that's another way you can kind of whittle down to kind of find the people, you know, you want to connect with. And then, like I said, the other half too is just, you know, connecting with vets, you know, even better if they do what they want to do, right? Do what you want to do, rather. Connecting with people who do what you want to do, have your similar background, that it's very helpful, even if you're not necessarily reaching out to them for like a job or anything like that, but even just general mentorship, right? Do you want to be, you know, an HR person? Go connect with HR people who are vets, who are in the private sector on LinkedIn. You know, even better if they're in the location that you're from or want to live in, some common background, you know, oh, hey, you know, we grew up in this area, or I want to live in this area, and start asking questions. You know, most people are happy to help. And then you may have to follow up. A lot of people are very busy, or they just don't pay attention always to their messages. So, you know, reach out if you don't hear anything, you know, just give a follow up, you know. I mean, and you don't have to worry about like spamming someone, not unless you're sending like 10, 15, 20 messages and they don't answer. But, you know, if you send someone a message here, they don't get back, you know, reach out again in a couple more days. A lot of times people are just really busy. There's a lot going on, especially with the labor market so tight. More companies are asking more and more of employees. So a lot of people are getting asked to kind of step up and do even more than they usually do. So don't feel like you're bothering anyone. Most people are happy to help. And even if they might not be able to help you, a lot of times you can say, hey, you know, maybe, you know, what their title said seemed like it is exactly what you were interested in doing. And it turns out they do something a tad different, and say, hey, is there anyone you think it might be good or worthwhile to speak to that, you know, might be able to provide some insights on the company or the line of work, or might be able to, you know, be willing to share their experience, and see what you find. That's really how you can help grow, network, and really start to better understand what it is that you want to do. Maybe you had a pretty good idea, and now, hey, you realize there's some things that suck about the industry that you didn't know. Or maybe it just further builds on that, and you say, hey, I didn't realize I could also do this, this, and that once I get there. Like, I'm liking that. Like, let me learn more and let me keep connecting with these people. And you know, who knows, maybe that results in a referral to a job.
Absolutely. Very good. What else? Who else has questions? A lot of times we get questions about your military move. How am I going to get my stuff from, you know, where you're stationed to your new location where you're gonna live? Remember that SkillBridge, you're going to be temporarily assigned to that company. Okay, so those are going to be temporary orders. Each branch calls it something different. The military will not pay for your move if you only have temporary orders. Once you have permanent orders, whether it's to separate or retire, that's what will allow the funding to happen. So you can essentially be under two set of orders. One will be temporary for your SkillBridge opportunity, and another will be permanent for you to separate or retire. If you're able to get those permanent orders to separate or retire before you start your SkillBridge program, please do so, because then you'll be able to take that to your household goods office on base, schedule an appointment, have them pack you up and move you right to whatever city where you're going to do your SkillBridge opportunity. And that's going to make your life significantly easier and your transition significantly easier, because that's one thing that you won't have to do. Think about everything you're doing when you're getting out of the military, right? You're moving, you're looking for a job, you're you know, setting up a residency somewhere else, getting this, you know, the kids enrolled in school, you know, possibly the spouse has to, you know, get another job. So there's a lot on your plate. If you can already live in the location where you intend on living during your SkillBridge time, then the move is just one thing that's checked off. So when you're out of the military, you don't have to reacclimate or get to know another city. You've already been there for, you know, 4 to 6 months or whatever. Okay. How about leave? Anybody have any questions about leave? What do you do with your terminal leave?
Sorry, actually, I do have a question pertaining to the move and stuff. So for my situation, say I do end up, doing some of my SkillBridge remotely, from like February to June, and then I get the opportunity to finish the rest of it in person. Would it still be better for me to try and get the separation orders prior to even starting? Or, I mean, would it really even matter because I'm still in the location and I could do it at any time?
What do you mean you'll be in the location? You can do it anytime.
So like I said, that first couple of months I'll be remote. So I'm in New Jersey right now. I'm doing my SkillBridge in San Antonio, but the first few months I may end up being remotely, where I started out here and then finish out in San Antonio. So, if they approve that or whatever, but.
Got it. Yeah, I would suggest if you and your family are ready to move to San Antonio, I would do that before you start your SkillBridge opportunity. That way, once you're in San Antonio, you're there. You know what I'm saying? You're there to do a SkillBridge opportunity. You're there, to learn the job. If you need to learn the city and the culture, you'll have plenty of time to do that. Also, if your unit knows that you're not there, that you're not in Jersey, guess what? You're not. They can't call you and say, "Oh, what about this?" Right? And hey, can you come in and take care of that kind of thing? Right? Because to them, you're only temporarily assigned. Now, if you're within driving distance, they're gonna, they may hit you up consistently. And I've seen service members that have gone through something like that. But if you're in San Antonio, there's no chance of that. So I err on the side of establishing myself for life after the military as soon as I can. So that's the route that I would go. If you and your wife are ready to move to San Antonio, I would do so at your earliest convenience. If you do need to wait until sometime during or after your SkillBridge time to move, understood. But I think your transition will be smoother and you will have a lot less on your plate if you can do it in chunks, and if you can move and take care of all that and enroll the kids in school when you first get there, and get a place to live, buy a house, and do all of that residency stuff. Then that's something that you don't have to take care of when you finally cross that blue line for the last time, and now you are a civilian. That's just something that you won't have to deal with.
Okay. And then, so say we do go back to San Antonio, right away, as far as then start, now we're going into your next question, then starting terminal leave after that, because I'll have 60 days. I shouldn't need to go back because I already have my separation orders, right? I'm already moved. So then it's basically just riding it out until my last day in the Navy, right?
Right. And so each command has the ability to kind of classify your time away from the unit differently. Okay. I was approved for a 6-month SkillBridge opportunity, and the last 2 months of it, I was on terminal leave. Okay. So that allowed my company to begin the hiring process early. I didn't have to do the full 6 months. Some commands feel the need to classify your time away differently, right? And so administratively, what they'll do is they'll give you 4 months of SkillBridge time and then have you take 2 months of terminal leave on the back end. Well, yada, 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 it's all 6 months, right? So you're still gone for a total of 6 months, but when they look at you on paper, you're only temporarily assigned for 4 months instead of 6 months. And so if that's like a political or, some kind of like saving face kind of thing that the unit needs to do in order to, the higher ups to say, why is this person gone for 6 months? Well, now they don't have to answer that question because now you're really only gone for 4 months. So you have the ability, you can either overlap your terminal leave with your SkillBridge time, or you can put it on the back end, but you can't do 6 months and then 2 months of terminal leave, right? Because you can't start SkillBridge earlier than your 180-day mark. So if you were to do a full 6-month opportunity, that's when your terminal leave would be on top of your SkillBridge time.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Now, I do want to address the FAQ page on the DoD SkillBridge site. So if you look up terminal leave on the FAQ page, it says that you're not supposed to. I don't remember the verbiage, but they tell you that you can't do it. We are driven by instructions. Okay. In the DoD instruction, in the Navy instruction, Marine Corps, Army, right? Nowhere does it say that you cannot sell back leave when you're doing SkillBridge. That is something that may come down the pipe when they release the new SkillBridge DoD, right? It's already been written. It just hasn't been signed and released yet. So going off of the website is unofficial, even though it's the official DoD SkillBridge, because it's not listed in an instruction. So that is something that the DoD frowns upon, because they're already paying you your pays, benefits, and allowances as a service member, but they're not getting any service out of you, right? You're already temporarily assigned to another company. They then see that as another form of payment to you if you sell back your leave, and then they have to pay you for that. So they discourage that. But as of right now, it is legal, but they frown upon it. Okay, so I want you to understand the difference in knowing what is frowned upon but legal, and what's legal and what's not allowed. Correct? What else? Who else has questions? Other than your questions, I've gone over everything that usually comes up in these discussions. So if you have any other questions that pertains to your specific journey, I'd love to answer them. Nothing. All right, folks. Well, appreciate you being here. Hopefully you got some value out of this. Hopefully you got all your questions answered. Ben and Darius, thank you for being here. Your input is always extremely valuable. Love the insight that you bring. Daisy, thanks again for being here and helping out as well. This session was recorded, so it'll be posted back to the Facebook pages and the LinkedIn pages. So that way, our friends overseas who weren't able to make this, and then if you needed something referenced, you'll be able to play this back and check out the responses. Thanks for being here. Next Thursday, I think we're going to be taking a break because I'll be on a trip with my son. But look for the flyers on social media for the next event, and look forward to answering your questions again. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Take care, everyone. Happy to connect on LinkedIn whenever or answer any questions. Thanks, guys.
Good to see you, Dave.
Thanks, sir. Nice to meet you.